let's just get right to it. If you're reading headlines like this, or this, and you're now convinced the metaverse is dead, dumb, or just an outright scam, then may I make a polite suggestion to wake the up? Maybe you've checked out Google Trends and seen a 93% reduction in interest since Facebook rebranded to Meta, and you've overlaid the search for ChatGPT, and you're convinced that this time the metaverse is really, truly dead and deserves to die along with crypto, NFTs, all VCs, and Silicon Valley in general. Again, with all due respect, I would say, wake the up. But because I'm nice, I'll treat you with respect and assume that you're capable of original thought, of thinking for yourself. Because the metaverse isn't dead. Far from it. It's a core pillar of Epic Games' ongoing strategy around Fortnite. And that pitches Tim Sweeney firmly against his nemesis, Tim Cook, and their long-awaited AR device. It's also the death of the smartphone, its spatial computing, the acceleration of the creator economy, its digital ownership, its body modification. No, trust me, it really is. And of course, its large language models. Contrary to popular opinion, generative AI didn't kill the metaverse. It took a giant can of gasoline and lit the mother of all fires under its ass. Now, I do understand if it's hard for you to see that, but that's why I'm here. A short, sharp shot of 2020 vision at a cut-glass BBC accent. Lucky you. So get down off your high horse, if you dare, and follow as I take you through the key drivers of the next ultraviolet chapter in the metaverse story. So let's just get this out of the way real early. There's currently not one, not two, but three versions of the metaverse.
What?
There's the sci-fi version dreamt up by Neil Stephenson in Snow Crash. Then there's what I call Metaverse TM. Now this is the hype-fueled marketing fugazi that fueled last year's bubble and enraged so many spleen venters on the internet.
Yeah, fugazi, it's a wazi, it's a woozy.
And if that was you, well, I understand. Then there's the actual metaverse, the one informed by the convergence of AR, AI, VR, blockchain, and gaming, and a bunch more. Now, when news articles talk about companies reversing metaverse bets in a pivot to AI, they are missing the blindingly obvious. Generative AI accelerates the progress towards a full-scale metaverse. It's not one or the other. The validation of one is the validation of the other. Metaverse TM is kabuki. It's snake oil huckster speak.
You did it again, Zuckerberg.
But the metaverse proper is, in my humble opinion, already inevitable. But what do we even mean by metaverse? Now, I'm a firm believer in getting back to first principles, and we're going to do a lot of that this episode.
Bring it on!
You can't talk about the metaverse if you don't have a definition of it. This is Matthew Ball's book on the metaverse, there it is, and how it will revolutionize everything. And he's probably right, too. In it, he attempts to define it, and to be honest, it's a little long.
That's what she said.
He says it is a massively scaled and interoperable network of real-time rendered 3D virtual worlds that can be experienced synchronously and persistently by an effectively unlimited number of users with an individual sense of presence and with continuity of data, such as identity, history, entitlements, objects, communications, and payments. Well, that covers literally everything, but it is pretty unwieldy. Now here at Based, we work with a much simpler idea. The internet built by game developers. Now that's not perfect, but it is far easier to wrap your head around with game engines and game mechanics at the heart of the experience. For what it's worth, here's how Tim Sweeney describes it. Sweeney's metaverse sees you and your chums banging around in Fortnite, just doing stuff together, which for him is just a whole lot more wholesome than arguing about Andrew Tate on Facebook or TikTok or Truth Social or whatever your social platform of choice. At least that's his thinking. Now we'll pick that idea up a little bit later, but before we do that, let's try and stratify what's going on here a little better. In reality, the metaverse is going to be the internet as you know it today. Everything you love and hate about the internet exactly as it is today, but with two additional and very important layers on top. One is preoccupied with data, and the other with the all-important experience. That data layer, well, that's about ownership, and yes, that could well mean blockchain, which doesn't mean that it has to be Web3 or Web3 TM and all the attendant BS that comes with it.
Thank God.
It just means immutable ledgers, digital ownership. So why don't you chug down your outrage and let's continue. Now, the experience layer, let's once again retreat to first principles, because can you tell me what exactly is an experience? Well, let me tell you, 3 things. It's sensations, what we receive through our senses, through our ears, through our nose, through our eyes. It's the emotions those sensations provoke, and then it's the thoughts that arise as a result. That's what an experience is, and yes, it's complex. Now think about the quote-unquote metaverse experiences we've seen to date.
This pretty amazing experience where, you feel like you're really right there with your colleagues.
Generally speaking, they do an absolutely terrible job of speaking primarily to the senses. Eyes, ears, that's kind of where it stops. AR and advanced haptics will likely revolutionize these experiences and will probably experience a whole bunch of other sensations we don't even know about yet. Now, the ice cream brand Magnum recently created a truly beautiful commercial with the hashtag "not available in the metaverse," which, unsurprisingly, don't on the metaverse, and highlighted the sovereignty of IRL experiences. You cannot taste in the metaverse yet. And I really want you to take that word, wash it around in your mouth, and savor it. Ready? Yeah. Because this is the key word to retaining any kind of sanity in the world right now. And good God, do we need some sanity?
It feels like the pace of change is so high that you're kind of in a dust storm. You don't really know where you're going to end up.
Witnessing such an important moment for Silicon Valley, but frankly, how the world works. And it's just everything is changing.
AI has changed the game for literally everything. And the only safe way to approach any assumptions about anything is to assume that you are wrong. So when we say something cannot be done, the only safe course of action is to append the word yet. Ready? Yet. Try it. Because inevitably it will, and likely much faster than we think. Now, to wrap this up, let's look at a few key drivers of the metaverse narrative and some likely catalysts. And we'll start with Chamat's t-shirt, because he's repping the current 100-pound gorilla in the creator economy, Mr. Beast.
I found the most expensive fails on the internet, from causing hundreds of thousands. Oh, holy shit, he yells a lot.
Which is apt, because the creator economy is our first driver.
The content creator side of things, because I believe that's where the puck is going. That's a much more important shift in how we all consume information and content and are entertained. It's through brands like you, individual people that we can humanize and understand, are the filter.
Now, Mr. Beast is an important catalyst for the creator economy in so many ways. Firstly, he's rewriting the rules in real time on what scale actually looks like for creators. He's also creating a blueprint for how to build diverse businesses off the back of distribution at scale. Direct-to-consumer sales, a key pillar of any creator-led business, are expected to continue growing right through to 2025. And the reason he's so important is because everybody on YouTube copies him.
We're gonna be busting 200 myths in 50 hours.
Now, you may or may not realize, but the modern media landscape is currently undergoing a radical shift alongside all of this. Tucker Carlson's ejection from Fox News could be viewed as another symptom of rapidly eroding trust in legacy media organizations. If you're a member of Gen Z, which I'm not, you will trust influencers over brands, with 75% of people surveyed saying they would make purchases online from creator recommendations.
It's called the Poover, and it does exactly what it promises. It hoovers poo.
But not from brands, and certainly not from Fox News. Now, alongside this, we're witnessing the rapid dismantling of many of the remaining barriers to content creation, with, of course, generative AI, from Midjourney to Runway to Adobe Firefly. The accessibility of tools for modern creators has never been better. And the final piece of this puzzle lies in UGC, or user-generated content. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. These are front of mind when we think of creator platforms, but increasingly we're going to see influential creators taking advantage of a rapidly maturing Roblox platform, Minecraft even, or, of course, the recently released UEFN platform on Fortnite. Now, video game market revenue is projected to reach a staggering $384.9 billion in 2023. But creators, you see, have historically seen very little of is the players don't really get much of it. They're just the ones forking out the cash. The next generation of players who've grown up playing Roblox and Minecraft have become used to endless content and endless opportunities. It's simply not feasible for game publishers to deliver that without a vibrant UGC platform. But in order to do that, you have to share revenue with creators. But the exact structure of how that split should be organized is still a bone of contention.
I hate that.
And approaches vary too. It's very difficult to launch a piece of original IP and attract an audience to it if you're a creator. Now, this has been the downfall of many of the Web3 metaverses, where it can often feel like a wasteland. People build stuff, but there's no way to get people there. But so-called structured UGC will allow creators to build in existing game worlds using optimized tools provided by the publishers. And this is the approach Epic is taking with UEFN and its Creator Economy 2.0. It will place 40% of the net revenue from the Fortnite item shop and a few other places into the engagement pool. Now, this game generates around $5 to $6 billion in revenue every year. So that's a significant chunk. Although, it should be said that Fortnite's own islands, such as Battle Royale, are also eligible for payments. So they pay out, but they also pay in. Bravo. That's what a circular economy looks like. Now, what does this have to do with the metaverse? Well, let's take a look at Fab, the new unified marketplace from Epic Games, and it's written right there. Our mission is to inspire and enable the next generation of content creators to build the emerging metaverse together. Tim Sweeney, he's the CEO of Epic Games, if you didn't know, has been very clear about his company's vision for this new world. It is not the fully immersive VR experience of Meta's Horizon Worlds. Although it might end up there, it's actually something far simpler with a familiar hook at its core.
You and your friends getting together online and going around as a group on voice chat, having a fun time, and social entertainment experiences. And some of these experiences are serious games like Battle Royale. Some of them are going to a concert and dancing, or chatting with friends and just having a good time.
Like, if you can get past Tim Sweeney's awkwardness, if that was Mark Zuckerberg saying that, you'd probably be scoffing into your cringe flakes. But this is what 70 million active users already do on Fortnite. There is no build it and hope they come. They're already there. And this makes the UEFN proposition much more like YouTube than Horizon Worlds. But Epic could still learn a lot from YouTube's discovery mechanisms. Tim's vision is not just for a metaverse, it's for an open metaverse, one that recalls the early days of the internet with open standards and open opportunities for anyone to connect. And if you're wondering why we opened with that definition of the metaverse as the internet built by game developers, here's what Tim said.
We have the opportunity to turn today's game engines into tomorrow's metaverse browser engines.
This is not a game universe begging for validation. It's not a dead mall bereft of customers. It's just the next evolution for a company that's been doing this for a very long time, since 1991. But of course, Tim won't have it all his own way. Fortnite is a multi-platform game, but you can't play it on an iPhone. Oh, no, 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 no. Tim Sweeney risked the wrath of Apple by declaring Epic would no longer adhere to Apple's payment processing restrictions. So Apple booted them off, because that's what they do. Damn. There's beef here, and it doesn't seem in any danger of going away, which is actually great for us because it means we have stuff to talk about. Now, the fascinating sidebar to this is the long-awaited announcement of Apple's AR, was it VR, was it AR, was it both? Nobody really knows. Headset, codenamed the Reality Pro. Yes, that's what they're calling it, maybe, we don't know. Which is expected to be unveiled in June. Now, this looks set to be a standalone device, a bit like the Quest, but fitted with some extremely high-powered Apple silicon chips, which basically means you've got a computer here and a computer here, which can do a whole bunch of funky stuff. And it will, of course, benefit from Apple's usual rich App Store ecosystem. Apple's VP Greg Joswiak has gone on record as saying the metaverse is a word he will never use.
The metaverse is.
A word I'll never use.
Craig, the metaverse is.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Which will put him at a distinct disadvantage in the weekly Apple Scrabble Challenge. Now, the backdrop to this product is the rise of spatial computing, and yes, I said it, the inevitable death of the smartphone. Yes, in a very short period of time, that familiar black rectangle in your pocket will feel as obsolete as a DVD player. Now, we'll move computing from handhelds to wearables, and eventually, where does it go? Well, it goes inside our physical bodies as implants or modifications. Now, it's easy to forget iPhones have featured an AI-powered assistant for many years already, even if its capabilities pale in comparison to ChatGPT. What spatial computing does is it detaches your interactions from flat screens and then embeds them in three-dimensional ones. So it actually makes a lot of sense to talk to an AI about what's going on, because physical movements and going over here and over here is kind of just a little bit inefficient. It's the logical next step from pinch and swipe that so delighted the first iPhone users in the first place. Now, tattoos, I've got them myself, and piercings have also become vastly more socially acceptable and visible in the last 20 years. Pretty much every footballer you see on TV is covered in them. And it doesn't take much imagination to go from there to smart enhancements, smart piercings, smart body mods that are embedded in our bodies but can talk to the technology that is on our body. It's crazy stuff, but that is where we are going. We've kind of really only scratched the surface here, but I wanted to talk about the main top line ones. There is a lot more to say, particularly in relation to AI and intersubjectivity, which is the shared perception of reality between individuals, how you and I perceive reality. Critics of current metaverse worlds often focus on how empty they are or how full of assholes they are, but they kind of fail to recognize the role that AI will play in populating these universes. You don't need to have an empty world if you can fill it full of AIs. And it can go a step further as well, because as a user, you will be able to customize the type of interactions you want to experience in your game world or your metaverse world in the settings, but the same way you can ask ChatGPT to LARP as a customer service representative or as M&M. And if that sounds like too much work, then I'm pretty sure brand new careers will be launched for those prompters able to create a compelling cast of characters ready for you to buy off the shelf. That's just another element of UGC. We won't care that we're interacting with non-humans, because the interactions we get will be less toxic and more in tune with our view of the world. It's just going to be better. And if you offer people something that is intrinsically better, they tend to want it. It's all the benefits of social interaction with the downsides as optional. Now, however you feel about this or the implied lack of exposure to diverse opinions, this is the inevitable line you draw from where we are now to where we're going. So to recap, the metaverse can be easily expressed as the internet built by game developers. It's the internet you know and love, but with two additional layers. One concerned with data property and ownership, the other with a vastly enriched digital experience. And there are three major propulsive energies driving the space forward, which are the creator economy and an imminent explosion in UGC, supercharged by your old boy, AI. Then there's the Tim versus Tim battle. The headlines write themselves as Apple looks to life beyond the smartphone. Imagine that. And the customization of the social layer to create whatever type of quote-unquote human experience you desire. No, the metaverse is not a dead mall, nor is it snake oil. It's very real, and it's happening right now. That's why we built an entire lab, an entire new camera system, so that we can go and play within it and try and understand it. And we know this because we are BasedAF. And because you watch these videos, so are you. I'll see you on the weird side.